So a few more final details here as we finish up this straight cut late rod change gearbox. And we're going to, we've decided in the meantime to install this on our Super 1380 street engine, which we had out for some service. We were going to put it back together with its original, really beautifully shifting, kind of a hybrid box I built years ago using actual Cooper S gear set, close ratio gear sets from the 4 Synchro type gearboxes installed in a rod change box. But given that our engine is really over the top for the recommended maximum power for any of these gearboxes at this point, we're going to go with the strongest option that we have here on the table, namely the straight cut. Let's take a quick peek inside of it. We've shown a lot of the details in building this one. Whoops, there went our little spacer here. But pretty standard setup. These are a close ratio, probably a little closer than the standard Cooper S, and for that reason we'll go into more detail on our differential choice, but we're getting ready to put the differential in our 365. Let me reach down here for our critical little spacer. Talk quickly about what we're doing. The detail I was referring to, I've already done most of this, being careful not to throw any shards, but at this point there's no, I've cleaned this case many times, but just before installation, one of the best ways to prevent leaks is to make sure you don't have a nick, you know, in the surface. Nothing sticking up that's going to wedge up the gasket and mess up your seal. And that little bit of detail goes a long way into, you know, taking a gearbox like this one out 10 years later and there's not a drop of oil coming off it. So with the differential going in this case, given our straight cut, hard shifting, this is my Cooper S that has the really short shift whereby you change the fulcrum point. And so I'm going to support this shaft. It's more common to use the little O-ring housing here, and I use those. I've probably got a few laying around here, but I had this really hard plastic urethane piece that actually does not allow this shaft. And you can see a bit of wobble here, side to side, that the seal must absorb. But this little urethane piece is a very tight fit, yet doesn't restrict the shaft, but it does not allow any sideways movement. So I'm going to use that one and get the gasket surfaces nice and clean. I went into some detail on this unit. This is built with just absolutely the best stock pieces available. Late housing, new thrust cups, no wear anywhere. 365, which was the original Cooper S gear ratio with the 970 and 1071 engines. But in this case we have slightly bigger wheels and we have a lot more power. And we're going with the straight cut, that ratio there, a little high revving on the freeway, but we're going to do another little trick up here that we'll talk about coming up.